Welcome back to the Friday Show presented by Woodbine Racetrack. I'm Ray Paulick here with Editor-in-Chief Natalie Voss. Natalie, normally we would be in Baltimore enjoying crab cakes and Maryland fried chicken and all the nice things that are there to enjoy. But because of the coronavirus pandemic, we're still stuck in Kentucky.
We are, and I have to tell you that the frozen crab cakes you get at Kroger are just no comparison. It's a real disappointment.
Well, so earlier this week, instead of being at the track, I was watching my favorite TV channel, C-SPAN, and lo and behold, there's these people. All of a sudden, they're talking about horse racing, and I thought, this is great. Horse racing makes it to the halls of Congress, and in fact, a couple of days ago, the House of Representatives, on a voice vote, a unanimous voice vote, passed something called the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act. And apparently, Senator Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader from Kentucky, is going to quietly try to attach it to a piece of uncontroversial legislation in the Senate that would also get passed in a voice vote. Although I've heard that there's a couple of people against it. Rand Paul, the crazy senator from Kentucky, is against it for some reason. I guess he's a states' rights person. But so let's talk about this thing, because I think it's going to happen. When Mitch McConnell came out and he had this press conference at Keeneland a little while ago, I was a little skeptical, but I really do think it's going to happen.
Yeah, we've been trying for years to get some sort of national legislation passed, and isn't it amazing how just one guy has to decide he's behind it, and all of a sudden the doors are open.
So you've read the legislation, 63-page legislation. I've read it. Can you just sort of, as basically as possible, explain what's going to happen if this passes?
Well, it sounds like if this passes, there's then kind of a cushion of time before it would actually become enacted. You would have a central authority created as a result of the legislation that would have a group of people running it that's split between racing people and non-racing people. You'd have a couple of committees under them focusing on medication and safety, and those would be the groups that would make the medication and safety rules for all thoroughbreds racing in the country. Not necessarily other breeds. It's sort of a little unclear on how that would go. I have questions about that. And that would be sort of, I think, up to the state racing commissions to kind of funnel up the chain as far as they're going to let the national authority handle testing, regulation, and any sort of consequences for positive tests. And it's supposed to sort of bring the uniformity that everybody's been hoping for all this time.
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, what this does is it creates one national racing commission to set the rules and to adjudicate all medication policy. And the safety part of it, I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work. But this is game changer. This is completely going to change how you've reported on all of these issues. I've been dealing with these issues for a long time. This is going to change everything as far as medication policy, the rules, the testing, the kind of maybe boots on the ground type of security that we have. It's like I sat there watching this House thing the other day and I said, this is actually happening. And, the timeline, as I understand it, is as soon as next week, they might announce a nominating committee. The nominating committee then, over the next few months, will appoint this 9-person board of directors that will be the authority. 5 are independent from outside of horse racing. 4 will be from inside of horse racing, but without any conflicts of interest. And then there will be 2 standing committees, 1 on safety, 1 on medication. So that's all going to be happening as the rules are being written. They'll actually be writing the rules, the committees and the board. And the soonest that this is going to go into effect would be January 1st of 2022, is my understanding.
Right. I mean, we've been covering these various attempts at getting legislation through, and we've been reading the drafts of the legislation. But right, I mean, don't you think we should be worried that we're not going to have jobs after this? Because I mean, everything's going to be fixed. Horse racing is going to become perfect, and we're going to have a national authority that will make sure that nobody is doing anything they're not supposed to ever again. Like, should we be panicked?
Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. We still have the good news stories that we can report on. So, speaking of not having jobs, there's a few opponents of this. Unfortunately, the HBPA is the one horsemen's organization in thoroughbred racing that is against it. And the USTA, the United States Trotting Association, is against it. And I guess the Association of Racing Commissioners International is against it. And someone described them as sort of the dying breath of the last brontosaurus roaming the earth. These organizations of organizations. But I really do think this is going to happen. And I'm excited about it because all of these states, like, for example, drug testing. We know that they really don't catch cheaters. They test the winner, they test the beaten favorite. And the way I've heard it explained is it's going to be intelligence based. They're not going to be wasting money, really, testing the winner of every race. They're going to actually be looking at, did this horse overachieve? Did he have 30-point improvement in his Beyer speed figures? Should we, send a super test on this horse? Should we put security on this guy's barn because he's claiming horses that all of a sudden are running 5 seconds faster? Racing commissions today are not doing that.
Right. Well, I think that they would probably tell you they don't have the money to do that. And money is still a pretty big question with this legislation. It's sort of made clear that there might be a yearly charge to state racing commissions for providing these services, or there might be a per start charge, just kind of depending on how the people involved want to do it. But there isn't anything stated in the legislation as it stands now as to what kind of numbers you might be looking at for that and who exactly is going to end up shouldering those costs, which, the downside to having a really broad program like this with a lot of investigators and a lot of testing and a lot of intelligence is going to be that it costs money. And so how much everyone still supports it when they find out how much it costs is going to probably be a question as we go forward. And currently, it's not as if you can decide you're for or against it based on what that price is going to be, because you don't know. So,
yeah, the original the money that they're going to be spending before it gets off the ground, according to the bill, the authority can borrow money to get started, and then they'll charge each horse racing state based on the number of starts in that state. So some states that have multiple racetracks, Pennsylvania, for example, or Ohio or Florida, where there's a lot of racing, they might be footing a higher bill. States like California, where they spend a ton of money already on drug testing, and the owners end up paying for it, they may actually save money. So it's unclear exactly how much it's going to cost and who's going to end up bearing the brunt of the financial part of it. But I mean, I'm all for it because the current system is just not working. I don't think it's too many states are just going through the motions, and this is going to be an earnest effort to really have a clean sport. And we've seen what the United States Anti-Doping Agency has done for Olympic sport, what they've done for the Tour de France. Of course, they're the ones that nailed Lance Armstrong without a drug test, but they got him through intelligence investigations. And I'm excited about it. It's things will be happening, I think, fairly soon, provided McConnell can get this through the Senate, and I'm pretty sure he will. All right, well, there's a lot more to be revealed about the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act, but things are happening. We're going to be following this as it happens through the coming weeks and months. And then when it's finally started, like Natalie said, we'll just be out of a job, because this will take care of all of racing's problems, right, Natalie?
It'll just be so sad for us. It will have nothing to do at all. My to-do list will be so short.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next time.